I wouldn't.
Welcome to the show, folks. Hope this finds you all safe and staying positive and happy. I know that sometimes we all know things are getting a bit confusing and frustrating, sometimes difficult and challenging, but we are strong. And I'm sending everyone watching a lot of love. Uh, this is On the Couch, episode 6 of season 7. Super cool. Your host here, Antoine Elhashem, and hanging out with my super sweet puppy cowboy, Gyllenhaal Elhashem. Before I get to my guests, I just want to touch on something. I just been getting lately close to the music industry and getting a lot of insight on the lack of representation and support for artists in the LGBTQ2S plus community, both in exposure and in playtime. Representation matters, both for our community and our youth, as well as for queer musicians and artists themselves and singers creating some, because they're creating some really great, darn awesome work. So we need to support them as a community and allies and friends, but we also hopefully will see more support. We are still considered a genre rather than people who listen to all genres and should contribute to all genres of music or art or books or anything. That's all what I got to say. Okay, now about our guest. We have the incredible Bif Naked on the show today. Okay, I have to admit, I arrived to the party a little bit late. I only started paying attention to Beth maybe in the last decade when I started seeing more articles and blogs about her in our magazine, theBUZZ, our entertainment magazine that's produced by Inspired Media that produces our show. And then I started following this beautiful work of this celebrated Juno Award winning, multi platinum, just reading here, record selling, notorious performer in music, TV, film, and dance, and also a tireless advocate and humanitarian. No surprise, she's been called Canada's princess of everything. She also has had quite a life, so hopefully we can touch on as much of that on the show. I'm very excited to have her on the show. Let's welcome Bif Naked. Hello, Beth.
Hi, how
Well,
are you?
doing great. How are you?
Fantastic.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a thrill.
It's my pleasure. I'm gonna start with this. What I would love to hear the origins of your name. You were born Beth Torbert. Where did Beth Naked come from?
So, Biff was a nickname that I was given in, I think, around the eighth or ninth grade. It was a nickname for Beth.
Okay.
And I guess there was a kid in my class that couldn't pronounce Beth with a TH. So
So
they
they were
just,
saying Beth.
yeah, they started calling me Beth. And Biff Naked um, really was the stage name that either I was christened with or we came up with when I was about 17 or 18. I can't actually remember for sure, but you know, the whole thing at that time in punk rock bands was all these names that these male singers had, whether it was Joey Shithead or Chai
Yeah.
Pig, all these names. And there weren't a lot of girls, but at the same time, because I was always called Biff, you know, I wanted it to be a little bit more provocative than just this androgynous name. Um, you know, and of course, Naked, I thought was a
I think it's
fantastic name.
brilliant. Absolutely, Beth Naked.
Yeah,
how, how
it stuck.
how much more raw can you get than Beth Naked?
It definitely stuck, but I mean, you know, over the years there were a couple other close names like that. If everyone remembers, Buck Naked
uh,
from San Francisco,
yeah.
and that was, of course, you know, an honor. I thought, oh, maybe we could be related, you know, to this great story. But anyway, it's a name that's always stuck with me.
Very nice. Am I correct that Beth Naked is also the band, or is that not correct?
No, that's just my name. And, I always say solo artist equals orphan, even though I got my start in bands. Um, Being a solo artist was, over all these years, it often was challenging,
Okay.
keeping a band together because,
For for
you
some
have to
reason
pay
on
them.
Wikipedia, though, they mention a few names on your Wikipedia under Bif Naked, and I thought maybe it's also the band as well.
That played with me, yeah,
That's
guys that
really
have
cool.
played with me over the years. I've
All
been
right,
very lucky.
let's start on current projects. Let's start with that. You just released recently. I broke into your car last night,
Yeah,
which I believe is part of an upcoming album, Champion.
that's
I
right.
I read that there were delays because priorities changed because of what was happening last year and the racial awakening. So let's take this moment for you to, I'll give you the stage to tell me all about the song, to tell me all about the upcoming album, and why should we be so darn excited about it?
Oh, thank you. Well, Champion is going to be my, I don't know, it's going to be an album for me. I feel like is going to be the best of my career. I have not felt like releasing a studio record in 9 years. I just haven't felt like it. And I can't say it's because, because I was going through breast cancer or because I was doing other things instead, like martial arts TV show or any of these things. I think that I felt more comfortable doing acoustic
Okay,
music for a very long time. I put a book out
yeah.
and I love touring that book and doing book readings and everything. But then, we started to write these angry rock songs and it felt really authentic and it felt fantastic. And the songs are, like all my records, they're all over the map stylistically,
Okay.
because of how people listen to music today. It's very different than when I started out putting records out 30 years ago. People don't have to listen to the record from beginning to end. They can
Yeah.
cherry pick the songs they want. And for me, I really wanted Jim to be the first single because it was a bit stylistically ambiguous.
Okay.
So it would be, people would still be guessing what the whole record would sound like, but also it's a very modern sound for me. And it's a tragic tale of betrayal. And I love that
It's a great
as a
song.
theme. Thank you. I loved it. And of course, Doug did the video for it as well. So it was a lot of things that made it the first choice for me. The second single was always going to be I Broke Into Your Car. We were going to release it last May.
Yeah.
But of course, May of 2020, the pandemic was really starting to get into full swing. And, from that point forward, I just felt like my record is not relevant in the world compared to all these other important issues. And then once we got into June and all of the social unrest, the injustice, the racial uprising,
Yeah.
it just really felt like my record can wait. These other things are going on in the world. They're more important.
I
Other
admire
people
you
are
for
more
being a
important.
human. I admire you for that.
Well, it just didn't feel very authentic at all. So we waited, and then we were going to do a streaming show for New Year's, and I was going to, debut the song for New Year's Eve, and then that, we went into a lockdown in Ontario, and we could not do the streaming show. So then I just thought, I'm just going to put it out on Valentine's Day, like I did with Jim. And
Mm,
that's what we did. And Broke Into Your Car is definitely a love song.
it's very cool. Yeah.
It's a love song. It's about trying to show your crush, basically, that you're constantly obsessed with them or thinking of them. And
And breaking into their cars.
yeah, well, hopefully it doesn't incite or
That doesn't
encourage
make
anyone
people
to
do
do
it.
a felony. But yeah, and of course it's metaphoric, but yeah, it's a very fun song. And we were hoping to put the entire record out on the third single.
Okay.
But again, with this year starting to, things are starting to transition and change and morph. So the good news is I've always been my own record company.
Yeah.
And I'm not
You
kind
don't.
of
There's no pressure.
bound. It's very freeing. I have a lot of freedom as to when I think it's a good time.
Good.
Maybe it'll never be a good time.
Yeah.
However, so far I haven't selected a date, but hopefully in the fall, the record champion
Fans
award.
are waiting. But you know what? I really love that you have the freedom and you'll decide when it's the right time to put it out, and that's a fantastic place to be at.
Yeah, it depends on the world and what's going on in the world. There are so many issues that are much more important than a Bif Naked record.
All right. You and I have a bit of a connection. Many in the community know that in my personal time, I volunteer at the Inspire Awards as
Ah,
as president and chair of the board. Maybe you did not know that.
oh, fantastic.
I'm on the board of directors. The awards is
Amazing.
dedicated to honoring good work, celebrating
Yes.
people, remembering history and accomplishments for anybody who doesn't know that what we do
Yes.
there. You will be performing on May 14th at the live stream virtual event.
So
It's
exciting.
celebrating 10 years. It will feature wonderful community activists and change makers. Katie Lang is going to receive her International Icon Award on the night of the event.
Amazing.
You're performing. We've got some great hosts. We've got some great performances. And it will be broadcasted on Rogers TV Ontario live at the time it's happening. And Rogers,
Amazing.
as you all know, carries this show on the couch. So my question to you is, in your own words, why is it important to acknowledge and celebrate good people and good work?
Oh, absolutely. It's important because it inspires a chain reaction. You know, really, ultimately, all we can ever do in our lifetime, and that goes for any of us, is really try and just live our best lives, live authentically, live honestly, live for the benefit of others,
Beautiful.
not ourselves. And I
Beautiful.
think that if we live that way, authentically, other people can just, we don't have to tell them we're doing anything. They can see by our actions.
Yeah.
And hopefully it will inspire them to do the same things and help others and live for the good of other people.
Thank you. This literally actually is part of the first year of the 10 years is what we wrote down is why we're doing the Inspire Awards, is because when you honor people, people will it'll be a wave that'll spread and people will do good work and people will go on to continue with good work.
Amazing. Yes.
What song will you be singing that night?
I don't know. yet. Yeah,
I'm gonna ask you.
Yeah, it's gonna be a surprise, but it's always exciting. I love singing. I've always loved singing. I love performing. So
I can't wait to see you on the show. Beautiful.
Thank you.
We are gonna take a little break, folks, and come back with the awesome Bif Naked. And we are back with Bif Naked and Little Cowboy here and myself. Beth, what got you into music? When was the moment when you thought this is what I want to do?
Honestly, it was a complete accident. I was a theater major. I was entered in the University of Winnipeg theater program. I was in the Prairie Theater Exchange musical theater program, and truthfully, I was simply asked to be in this band that needed a singer, and that was it. I had never had a singing lesson. I'd never done anything like that, but I thought, well, I'll just fill in for a little while for them. And
30 years later,
30 years later, here I am, and I love it. It was actually the absolute perfect way for me to do everything I've ever wanted to do. I could use my dance training. I could use my theater training. I could use my musical theater training. It was perfect. And plus with writing and lyrics and everything, it was just a great fit for me.
Isn't life funny when it gels, when something happens? Yeah.
Yeah.
you are more than just music. You are a multidisciplinary artist. I mentioned at the start. Why do you get into different arts, and how do you get your motivations and inspirations for everything you do?
Oh gosh, I think that every one of us probably has a lot of hobbies. I mean, I've always been making doodles and drawing stick girls, and since I was a kid, probably like a lot of people, and same with writing poetry or even working on paintings. Um, I think that for people who are in the arts, particularly, it's easy to kind of flow between all these different mediums, because sometimes you don't really feel like singing a
Hey,
song. Sometimes you just feel like writing a poem, or sometimes you feel like
okay.
just drawing. And it doesn't mean that they all make money, or that you can buy a sandwich from selling your poetry or your art, but
But you don't always do it for that. We don't do
no,
art or creativity for that always.
no,
Yeah.
no. It's about living an artist's life, and a lot of artists will say they can't help it. They
Yeah.
are driven. They're driven. They're passionate to do this. It's madness for them,
Yeah.
and I think the same is true for me. But I'm definitely a performer first before I'm anything else.
I was going to say, where do you get your inspiration? But probably from everything around you and from life, right?
Sure, like everybody. I mean, there's anything can be an inspiration for us, whether it is driving down the highway, or watching, the loons on the lake.
Yeah.
People get inspired from everything.
Um, who do you have any musical influencers?
Oh, sure. I mean, for me, I love music so much. I love every kind of music. There is never,
Which artist, let's say, which artist influenced you the most, if there's such a thing?
when I was a kid, obviously, and an impressionable age,
Okay.
a young teenage girl in the late 80s, early 90s, obviously, I was influenced by Madonna and Boy George and Prince and
Oh my
Joan
God, all my
Jackson.
favorites.
Yeah, because that's our generation. And it was really a beautiful time.
Yeah,
Um, you
music was
know,
beautiful in the 80s, absolutely.
yeah, it was cool, man, and stuff was very accepted and acceptable, and things were changing and exploding. Once Lollapalooza came into being, I mean, there were different genres of music all on the same stage in North America, and that was something that was new.
Okay, cool. Any thoughts on the music? We mentioned the 80s. That's a good start for this. Any thoughts on the music scene now?
Oh, it's very interesting. I mean, the internet has been a miracle for young artists and for budding artists. It really has. And as many of the artists that bemoan streaming and whatnot, the truth is that so many young or aspiring or new artists got their beginnings
I was gonna say,
now.
would not have gotten a chance at all from a label.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And now with radio, it's just changed so much. There's not the same opportunities, because there's not as many stations and a million other reasons. So now anybody, anyone, can put their song out there for the world to hear, and the world will hear it.
Very nice. Very nice. I like that. I really like that outlook. I get a lot of some people, you hear the negative view on the music industry now. I'm excited to hear a positive view for a change.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Very nice. A few years back, you wrote a book, a memoir. Let's go back to that. Tell me about the experience of writing I Bificus,
Yes,
which
I
was,
Bificus.
which was also the name of your second album, I believe.
Yeah.
So tell me about the book, and also what does Bificus refer to? Because I'm curious.
Well, it was a play on words. When we made the second record, it was in about 1996, and it was actually Glenn Rosenstein, um, the producer, who always called me Bifficus, and he was making a reference to I Spartacus,
Okay,
and so that just stuck as the name for the
I
record.
like it.
Yeah, it was really, and to me, I liked it as a name for the book, because it just sounded like it sounded very confident.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was the opposite of confident when I was a kid, a life of misadventure, I suppose. And I had always written songs and lyrics that were autobiographical.
Okay.
So I guess I thought it would be a little easier to put pen to paper to do the memoir. I didn't want to do the memoir. My manager of 27 years kind of pestered me
Do your
into
memoir.
it.
Do your memoir.
Yeah, and I'm glad that he did, but it was very hard sometimes to revisit some of these stories that were, you know, tragedies in my life. Even though I felt that I had overcome a lot and I emerged victorious, still to revisit them on the page was very hard.
I know.
And there were a lot of stories that that did not make it into the book,
I know.
that HarperCollins felt that maybe should not make it into the book, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
It was a really interesting experience writing it, but I felt like it was early for sure, because since the book has been finished and came out, so much has happened. I always laugh and go, "Oh my gosh, a lot happens to a person," and that's every person from me to the dishwasher
We all
down the
have a
street.
story to tell.
Yes,
Absolutely. We all have a book.
absolutely.
We actually, I operate also a book publishing company that's just started recently for the queer community
Oh,
to help
cool.
to help queer authors. And one of our taglines or the words that we put out, everyone has a book inside them to tell.
Yes,
Everybody has a book to write.
absolutely. Yes.
The reason why and thank you for sharing this. The reason why I asked about the memoir because also my best friend is a best-selling author who wrote her memoir, and I remember when she was writing it, a lot of times she walked away from the computer because it's very hard to put your life down for so raw and for the whole world to read it. So good for you. I commend
Thank
you
you.
for taking that
Yeah,
step.
it
Well,
was
let's
fun.
go back even further, way further.
Okay.
Tell me about the feels you had when you released your first album titled Bif Naked back in 1994. It's a big step for a new artist to release an album. How was the experience?
Well, at the time, I had come from being in a couple of bands that were in the scene, and in my, you know, 22-year-old brain,
Uh,
it was very stressful. I felt like a traitor, and
oh,
I was ostracized from my little punk rock scene. They said I was selling out, all these other things, and I felt very guilty for that. And it was, you know, it was the music industry was like conforming. It was like all these things. I laugh now because I just know that it was something that was meant to be. I loved working with John Dexter, who was the first producer, and between my manager Peter Carroll and John, I really felt like it was. I felt very lucky that I even had the opportunity to make a solo record. I could have died happy. I could have died happy because I thought, here I am putting out my record, and all I thought in my head is Madonna was 24 when she put out her record. I thought I've done it all. This is good. I can die at 25. I've done everything I wanted to do
you know
in my
what?
life. Oh
It's
yeah.
I'm glad I asked the question because book or music record or anything, when we put something of ourselves out there, it goes on to live on. And it does feel like that. If once you put your basically legacy out in the world,
Yes.
you can die happy because I now
100%.
gonna be remembered for the work that I put out into the world. Beautiful, nicely said.
Yeah.
Um, you also you don't stop. You also have launched something new recently. Another spot where I feel we also have a connection. I'm a hugely into CBD oil.
Oh, cool.
Even for like nicks and scratches, I keep putting CBD oil on anything
Yes.
that hurts. Basically, tell
Yes.
me about Mona Lisa healing.
Well, Mona Lisa Healing was, of course, I knew the founders, so that made a big difference. But you know, the thing about CBD was I kind of was introduced to CBD when I was a breast cancer patient. All of the other breast cancer patients that were in my chemo group or the group I volunteered with were taking tinctures or they were using medical marijuana to help alleviate some of their side effects and symptoms. And CBD oil was really something that was popular, but of course it was against the law.
Yeah, back then. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a while ago. And so now, of course, in the world, there are a million CBD companies. Anybody can order CBD on the internet.
Okay.
But ultimately, it's not a regulated industry like protein powder. You know, there's no protein powder cops that check the ingredients and say, yep, they're being truthful.
True.
So I
Be
thought
careful,
that
folks, when you buy CBD oil.
aligned with the things that I wanted in my life: cruelty-free company, coconut oil, totally vegan, and no THC. You know, there were just a lot of different elements that needed to go into a product before I was going to use it. But ultimately, it's because it helped my sister,
Nice.
who had terrible knee pain. It helped my partner who had terrible insomnia.
Okay.
And it has helped more people than I can even tell you. I started taking it 5 years ago, I think. And for me, it helped my joints after,
Yeah.
you know, 13 years of ballet and then 25 years of being on stage dancing. It helps my joints. It helped me with my workouts, with my recovery, and, you know, even with my pets.
I was going to say, towards the end of my past dog life, I was giving him CBD oil to help him out. Would deal with a lot. So yeah, I have my mom
I
also
mean,
on CBD oil. All right, you are open about your. You've always been open about your bisexualities. I've seen. I actually was watching your video earlier, Twitch, from back in 2009, and I can see the bisexual hints in the video. Um, you always also talked about the importance of being proud and living a proud life. What can you tell me about this aspect?
well, I think that when I was a young girl in my early 20s, it was really important to me, partly because of the community of friends that I had and my chosen family, and just the queer community in Vancouver. It was important to me to ensure that everyone understood I identified as bi. It was very important to me.
Nice.
However, all the guys that I knew, and a lot of the guys in the bands that I played with, you know, they hypersexualize that no matter what you do. And so their version of bi, of course, was chicks at the wet t-shirt contest doing duo night, or they think that that means you're going to have a threesome every day, or they think it means you're promiscuous.
Yeah.
And for me, nothing could have been further from the truth.
Yes.
And I think over time and over all these decades, even though, and I've been married 3 times, to my gorgeous husband now, Snake, who I love. But the truth really is, for me, I think that it was an error for me to have said bye. And really, the truth was pan. And the distinction I think is important to make for me now, especially because I think it's important that everyone understand what I mean, you know. And from my heart, what I'm saying is, man, I love everybody, you know, and I really believe in the humanness of people and human beings. Everybody has the potential for being a wonderful, loving person, you know. So I
I
think that
love your view.
bi is just too limiting for me now.
I was going to say, and also, but you're right. I've never thought of that. When you say bisexual, for some reason, you think of the sexual aspect of it rather than the person behind it. Yeah.
And I think maybe that's changed now. I don't know for sure. But back, you know, when I was a young person, the only real experience, I guess, a lot of people that I knew anyway had, or contact or impression they had of any bisexual girls, were all the exotic dancers.
You sleep with everybody.
Yeah, and which is great and fantastic, and I love exotic dancers, but you know, I wasn't, you know, that wasn't what I was trying to convey. So I've always thought it was really important for me, even though I have a lot of friends who are queer, who have never felt the pressure societally to come
Define
out of the
yourself.
closet, because in their minds they don't think it's necessary, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
I also have queer friends and trans friends who believe that those other individuals who are still in the closet are doing a disservice to everyone. So it's both sides of the
It's a
thing.
it's a personal thing, and
Yeah.
I don't know if I have thoughts on it because it's your life, it's your freedom.
Yes.
I know we all want every person to come out because it's good for the movement, but also it's
Sure.
a very personal thing. So all right,
It is.
um, you have mentioned cancer, so it's obviously you talk openly about being a cancer survivor.
Yes.
You've had a lot of interviews about the topic as it was happening, so I don't want to over dive into it. But in one sentence, what would you say about it today, about struggling and surviving cancer?
Breast cancer made me a woman. And I say that because prior to having the experience of going through cancer treatment with this built in sorority of other breast cancer patients, I had just never had any opportunity in my adult life to be in a room full of just other women.
Wow.
It was incredible. It was transformational. It was amazing. It was nurturing. It was the most important time in my life. One thing, anyone will tell you this, with a health crisis of any kind, cancer is the big reveal in our lives. It shows us who we are, and it shows us who everyone else is in our periphery.
Thank you.
It was very interesting. I am grateful every day for the experiences I had, but I met more fearful people in cancer care than I have in any other time in my life. And as a result, it brought me into volunteering, and it introduced me to palliative care volunteering, because people don't want to be around palliative care a lot at least the other patients didn't, but I did. And I thought, there's a calling here that I would not have discovered had I not been a patient. So I'm always going to be very grateful that I was diagnosed.
Thank you. You're gonna make me cry.
It's so true, though, and I'm sure that everyone can say the same thing, that the adverse things that happen in our lives bring us to these opportunities we never would have known. It's
I love
incredible.
everything that you said and you're saying. And I really love it. I'm very happy you survived it.
Thank
I, lo-
you. Knock on wood.
I lost my brother and my best friend in
I'm
the last week.
sorry.
That, but no, but your passion about helping is very inspiring. Thank you.
Thank
Um,
you.
all right, you are very tuned in. You advocate for causes. You are a vegan. What are your thoughts on society and our species at this time of our history?
I really think that human beings, as flawed as we all are, human beings are so flawed. I think that human beings right now, at this time in our history of the world, everyone's overwhelmed. And I think that is like, there's so much
Yeah.
going on and to take in. And I just think that people, when they're overwhelmed, it's like an animal that is panicking.
Okay.
People become angry. They have no other way to react. And I think there's a lot of good things in the world if people can take a deep breath, like literally take a deep breath, or
Stop and take a deep breath.
yes,
Meditate for 5 minutes. There's a lot that can help
anything.
you.
Yeah, just take a deep breath, and we have to look out for each other. People have to think of their neighbor more, whether it is someone from a different country or their neighbor next door. We have to think about others more.
Okay. With that wonderful words and statement from Beth, why don't we take another break and we'll be right back. Hey folks, we're back with the awesome Bif Naked again. In this segment, we usually want to get to know you more as a person, the person behind the persona. So, what would you tell us a little bit? Share your upbringing. Where were you born? any childhood growing up memories that you can share with us?
Oh, a million. We would be here all day. I think that it was a real accident for me to come into this world. My birth mother was 16 years old, and she was in India with her parents who were working there at the time. My adoptive parents were working in India. My father was a dentist, and he was fixing teeth in Bareilly. They were there through the church from Minnesota, where they were living in America. And they adopted my older sister, Shireen, and then adopted me and went back to North America and eventually had my younger sister, Heather. And we moved to Canada in the 70s, which was for me a delight because I was the only Canadian in my family. My birth mom was Canadian, and because of that, I was a Canadian. Because I was born in India, as a birthright, I could have chosen Indian citizenship. And, I didn't go back to India as an adult until I was in my 20s. I sometimes wish I would have gone back earlier, but it's expensive and hard to travel in high school by yourself. So I finally went back when I was an adult, and it was just an amazing experience for me to discover the place of my birth that I had romanticized my entire life. And my mother, with whom I'm very close, and my birth mom, with whom I'm very close. I wish, in this world, I wish that I could travel back there with them both, holding hands with both of these women who helped inform the woman I am today.
I really hope that your dream comes true if it can happen.
I do too. My mom is in Winnipeg now. She's turning 83. And my birth mom is just lives a couple towns away from me here in Ontario. So I do have the opportunity to see her all the time now. Well, except now during the pandemic, I don't. But I hope so too. I just think that I know the differences. I can tell you the differences between environmental and genetic, just in who I am and who I became. And it's amazing to have that opportunity. I have never met my birth father, but I follow him on Twitter, and that's okay. My adoptive dad, with whom I was very close, passed away a couple years ago of cancer, and he had me laughing until he took his last breath. He was such a funny, jolly, intelligent man, and I'm very much his daughter, and I love that. And I love going through my life knowing that.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Here's another connection we have. I'm going to read this post from your social media platforms.
Okay.
Namaste. I have come to realize that kissing a dog is truly the highest meditation. Gives us an internal radiance, illuminates our aura, and possibly leads us to true happiness or warms. Happy Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for. I laughed and the post gave me the ahs and the laughs at the same time.
Fantastic. It's true.
It's true. I know. I could tell from all your social media you love dogs, and so do I.
I do. Yes,
I do. So let's talk about that. Why your love for dogs? What do you see?
When I was a kid, I had a dog growing up. We had the family dog, Muffin.
Muffin? I love Muffin.
Yeah, Muffin, who was a cockapoo dachshund. And then as an adult, I got a Maltese and a Bichon, Nicholas and Anastasia. And Nicholas lived with me as my real husband for 17 years. And Anna died when she was 10. And that was almost 10 years ago. And now we have a little puppy that came into our life quite by accident this year, and she has been just like all pets are. She is a blessing from God. She has given us more joy.
The little one that's in the pictures, right?
Yes, she's
adorable.
She's hilarious. She is just, and I've never had a Yorkie. So learning about some of her personality traits.
Quirks.
She's the boss of us, and it is hilarious. And it's just, it is a joy. It is an absolute joy to have a pet.
It is when you, no matter what your day is, when you get them crawling up to you to comfort you and
Yeah,
with you, the whole world melts and disappears.
100%.
Speaking of melting, and what brightens your day and what inspires you when you see it?
The sun, all the time. I
Right.
mean, even through the clouds, I know that big ball of energy is there. And I love mornings. I'm such a morning person. I cannot have, no matter what is happening for me, no matter what, if I can just remember to stop and look and look at the sun.
I'm
and
actually, honestly, I'm surprised that you're. I would thought a rocker would really like the nighttime rather than the morning time.
I am a morning person. I am such a morning person.
Very
I've
nice.
always been. Yeah, I love it.
What makes you laugh? What gives you a really good belly laugh?
Everything, absolutely everything. I love humor. I love jokes. I'm not necessarily a prankster, but I love laughing with friends. People are funny. The friends that I have are funny, and we have inside jokes that make us laugh.
Sweet.
My partner makes me laugh every single day. And there's nothing better for your body, for your cells, for your heart,
Everything.
for your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, laughter.
When they say laughter is the best medicine, they're not lying.
That's
And
right.
It's funny. You can, even if you're not feeling it and your day is going well, take a moment to smile and you can feel everything internally changes.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
With that, we usually end the show with a game of quick questions. You provide quick answers or long answers, I don't care. Whatever comes to mind. Are you ready to play?
Yes, I love it. It sounds so cool.
Your horoscope.
My horoscope?
Yeah.
My Gemini horoscope? I'm a Gemini, so
You're a
it's
Gemini?
twins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you believe in horoscope?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, sometimes it seems kind of accurate. I think that I think I'm probably a pretty
Okay.
good Gemini.
You answered my next question. Your favorite time of the day. You beat me to that one. Your favorite evening drink after a good day of work and whatever. What would you pour?
Oh boy, you know what? I love pomegranate juice
Nice.
a lot, and I try and dilute it with water because I have a sweet tooth.
It's
And
really sweet.
oh yeah, but I love pomegranate
Very
juice.
nice. Your favorite color?
Pink.
Pink. Your
Yes.
favorite season of the year?
Summer.
Summer.
I
Nice.
love summer.
Because of the sun, obviously.
Yeah.
A song not yours that you listen to frequently these days.
Ooh. There's an artist named Tarkan
Okay.
from Turkey, and he
Nice.
has a song called Doo. I listen
Okay.
to a lot. I listen to him on repeat. It's my workout record.
I knew that there's an answer because every few months I do have a song where I wear it out, basically.
Yes, I wear it out.
Reading any good books lately?
I am actually trying to get through this book that is so intense and important for me. It's called Border and Rule, and I oscillate between that and other books. I love poetry more than I love anything else in the world.
Nice.
And my little munchkin has just caught under my
Oh, bring her on.
I'm trying to find her.
We love. I love her. Hello.
Hi.
What's her name?
Hi. This is Ace.
Ace. I love the name. Hi, Ace. This is Cowboy. There. Say hello to each other. Yay.
So cute. Yeah, this is Ace.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Cool.
she's
I
fun.
love having dogs on the show. Cool.
Me too. I love it. I love having her here.
What quirks do you have?
What quirks do I have? I probably have a lot.
You have a lot of quirks?
Probably. I'm sure I do. I'm like a 50s housewife.
Okay.
I call it the Thelonious effect because so there's a movie called Babe, with the pig.
Yeah, you pig.
And so there was a sequel to that. It's called Babe, Pig in the City.
In the
and
city, yeah.
Pig in the
Hello,
City.
you're talking to a film buff, yes.
Okay, so in Pig in the City, there's an orangutan who's like the patriarch of the house. Thelonious is his name, the orangutan. And I feel like I can relate to him because even when they're being raided, even when the house is being raided by animal control, he still is not ready to leave until he gets dressed. And I am like, that is me, man, because I get up at 5 a.m, I have a shower, I have my coffee, and I put on full makeup every day of my life, also known as the Victoria Principal, if you remember the show Dallas. That's just who I am. And when we were young women, we were taught to do our makeup by all our friends who were drag queens in Winnipeg. And that's where I learned to do makeup.
That's where you learn the makeup. What is a pet peeve that you have?
I don't think I really have any little pet peeves, but I have big ones, which of course are people who are just like, they're hateful or they're hurtful. I think those are the
we don't
most
like
terrible.
those.
Yeah, I think that's probably, for me, that's the worst pet peeve I have.
Fair enough. Cool.
Yeah.
What job would you be terrible at?
Terrible at?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd probably be a terrible waitress.
Okay.
Why I'd probably be terrible. I've never been a waitress. I always applied for the dishwasher job when I was young because I knew, A, that would be the job that I would get, and B, I wanted to be with the cooks. I wanted to be in the kitchen with everybody else, not with the preppy,
outside,
good-looking girls who are over there. And I think that I'd be a terrible waitress because I would feel badly taking money from people.
Oh, wow. That's so cute. What is your most favorite film of all time, other than Babe?
There's a film that's called Isle of Dogs.
I think I know the film.
Yeah. Is it Wes Anderson?
Yeah, I love dogs. Yeah, okay.
It's amazing. Another one is called Jim Jarmusch. It's Only Lovers Left Behind. Is it Only Lovers Left Behind? I forget. Anyway.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I would say Isle of Dogs for sure.
What dish do you... Oh, the Isle of Dogs, yes. What dish do you cook that one should not miss when they come to your place?
Vindaloo.
Cool. Nice.
Always. I love making curry. It's my favorite thing to cook.
Sweet.
I love cooking. I cook every
Where
night.
are you? What's your address? Let's take that down. And I love Indian food. Like every few days, I order.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It'll keep you healthy. The turmeric will keep you healthy.
Oh, it is actually. Thank you. That's another reason is I know what's in the food is really awesomely healthy.
Yeah. Yes.
Are you usually early or late?
Always early.
Always early. I like
painfully early. I feel bad for my hosts.
Describe a romantic date.
Oh gosh, anything. I think anything is romantic, and my partner and I, basically, no matter what is happening in our lives, whether we're on tour, because he's my guitar player, or whether it's a stressful day, anything, we always wind up going to bed holding hands.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it.
It's so
Thank
sweet.
you. Thank you for warming our jaded hearts. Ideal way to spend a weekend. You have a weekend free. What would you do?
Wow, I would say taking the dog outside in the fresh air and the sunshine. That to me is like, there's nothing better.
Beautiful. Game over. We're done with the question.
Very nice.
Thank you. Any last words? Folks, I'm so sorry. The sun is changing and the lighting is changing, and now I'm getting all this.
It's beautiful.
I know.
like wow.
Like I'm being visited by some angels or something.
It's heavenly. It's heavenly. It's very divine. It's beautiful.
So Beth, you've been awesome. Any last words to your fans and the LGBTQ2S+ community?
Oh, just that I love you and keep going. I know that right now, especially here in Ontario, it's a little bit it's daunting. You know,
Daunting is a good
it's
word.
daunting, and it's disappointing. You know, we get disappointed all the time by the news, but all I can say is, you know, eventually we're going to be dancing in the streets. Eventually, again, we will all be together.
That's the spirit. Everyone, make sure to like us on Facebook at / join us on the couch. Keep shining, lovely viewers, and love yourself first and foremost, and then take that love and project it on the world and onto everyone else. Love you. Take care. Thanks, Beth.
Thank you.